And as we mentioned, President Trump will deliver his State of the Union tonight. It comes one day before the Senate is expected to acquit him on 2 articles of impeachment passed by the House in December. CBS News chief congressional correspondent Nancy Cortez joins me now from Capitol Hill. So, Nancy, the president will deliver this address in the same House chamber where he was impeached just a month and a half ago. We're hearing he's not expected to bring up impeachment. You never know. What are you hearing on Capitol Hill?
Well, what I'm hearing loud and clear from Senate Republicans is that they hope he won't bring it up during his speech. They don't think it's the proper venue for a victory lap, and they don't think it's the proper timing for a victory lap either, since he is not expected to be acquitted until tomorrow. So they're hoping that he will stick to the script. He does have a tendency to stick to the script more so during State of the Union addresses than during those rallies around the country. So that leaves them hopeful, and they think that he's got a good story to tell. He can talk about the economy. He can talk about his plans for 2020 and beyond. So they're heartened by the fact that the White House says he isn't scheduled to bring it up, that it's not in his prepared remarks, but this is the president, so you never know.
You never know. Nancy, overall the economy has been doing so well. There was that dip on Friday over coronavirus, but do you think that the president will largely focus on the economy? What do you think that some of the highlights might be of his messages?
Absolutely, I think he will, because that's the story that Republicans want him to stick to as we head into the 2020 elections. They say it's not just good for him, but it's good for them in their reelection efforts. And so they hope that he talks about that a lot. They want him to talk more about the Middle East and about his policy there and where he sees those confrontations heading. They anticipate that he will be making an announcement about a school choice proposal that the White House has been working on. Republicans like the sound of that too. So they hope that it'll be a meaty speech and that it will help to turn the page from impeachment, which has really paralyzed this body over the past several months. And they say that the best way for the president to do that is to not talk about impeachment, not to refer to it, but to talk about his plans. Now, he is still tweeting about impeachment today, so that gives you some sense of where his head is at. But as of right now, the White House says that it is not a part of his official prepared remarks.
So, Nancy, do we expect, I know the president's words can be very divisive at times. This is a very divided Congress. Is there any talk about maybe reaching a hand across the aisle? Sometimes in previous State of the Unions, it's an opportunity to hit the reset button. Would we be disappointed to expect that tonight?
I think that you can expect both. I think you can expect some tough partisan talk, and I think if his past State of the Union addresses are any guide, he'll reach across the aisle as well. He did that last week, reaching out in particular to Democratic women, talking about that, talking about gender issues. These speeches tend to be more magnanimous than what you hear on the campaign trail. And so I'm certain that you will hear some of that kind of talk. At the same time, last year, he also said, if you recall, that you can't have a Congress that is impeaching him and working with him at the same time. He kind of made that veiled threat. Well, we all know how that worked out. Congress did impeach him, and also the two sides did not spend much time working together.
Yeah.
And so let's see how things go this year. And of course, that'll depend a lot on what he proposes and whether it's something that Democrats can get behind as well. They've been saying, hey, look, you've said years ago you want to work with us on prescription drug pricing. We're still all for it. Obviously, he's going to tout his the recent signing of the USMCA, the trade bill with Mexico and Canada. And there are some areas of disagreement. Just depends on what he decides he wants the focus to be. We're also going into this speech tonight, Rena, with sort of an odd split screen situation. On one hand, the president is coming up here the one night a year where he comes and speaks to Congress. On the other hand, this is the day that has been set aside for Senate Democrats and Republicans to go to the Senate floor and one by one express how they are going to vote on removal or acquittal. So you've had a parade of Democrats coming out all day saying that they are going to vote to remove him from office, and Republicans coming out one by one to say that they are going to acquit him. So, it's an interesting day that he's coming up here to Capitol Hill. Probably not the timing the White House would have wanted, but that's just how it worked out.
My favorite State of the Union year was when they had to bring a buddy. Do you remember when members of Congress reached across the aisle and had to bring a buddy? This is the year, Nancy. How do we revive the buddies?
That seems so quaint.
It does.
Such a quaint notion now.
It's true.
To think that the two sides, went hand in hand like a date to the prom. But there's no talk of that this year. In fact, the House of Representatives has been fairly quiet. We haven't heard a lot out of the House over the past couple of weeks because all of the attention has been on this Senate impeachment trial. The House was gone for a week while the Senate was in session. And so, it'll be interesting to see how he is greeted by House Democrats who, after all, are going to feel like, that they're on the cusp of a major defeat here. They impeached the president, but he's not going to be removed from office.
Nancy Cortez on Capitol Hill. Nancy, thank you very much.
You're welcome.